Yo, Chad, what's up? Again. So yeah, yesterday we had a lot of fun. Um, so this video called Scarier, the Wormy did not make an appearance in it. He changed the thumbnail to Suicide Malice. Hold up. Like, hold up, this is Sonic.exe right here, right? Oh yeah, I'm gonna rap it here. Alright, here we go. It's a finally time to go back to the scary. What is that? Hold up, what was that? I know that was the Wyoming incident, but that's Red Mist Squidward. That's a Aoni. What is it? It's a clown. Alright, let me full screen this. Yeah. What is this? What is that? FNAF game? That's fan made. I think it's probably FNAF. Bro. I don't know what's happening. Today's Sunday Night Suicide. Remember this video, guys? Oh, I saw Solid Fingers. I should have known he was in it. I didn't even know. Bro. What should we react to for today? Guys, I just found out something. Let's watch all those lost episodes of Village Keep 94 did. But this is a copyrighted chat. Yeah, it's not copyrighted. Yeah, and Omega Flowey was actually in that video called Scary, the OG. Yeah, chat. That's actually where he came from. I'm too worried about Wormy though. I'm just worried. Bro.
Lost episodes of cartoons can be pretty creepy and messed up.
Yep.
If you didn't know, there are many creepypastas that talk about deleted cartoon episodes, ones that never came to air and nobody can find real footage of them. Keep in mind that this is a video purely for entertainment purposes, and the creepypastas are all fictional. But still, it's interesting to see all this creepy stuff and how the internet can make such dark tales involving lost episodes. This isn't a top 5 list. I just want to show you guys the scary lost episode stories that the internet has to offer. If you're scared easily, you should probably avoid watching this video because there's some really dark themes. With all that being said, let's get on with the creepiest lost cartoon episodes. I'm starting off with a lost episode that many people have heard of, Squidward's Suicide.
Oh
While
yeah,
I don't want
heard
to
of
get
this
into
too.
all the specifics of the story, just know that it involves Squidward getting really sad and eventually killing himself. There is a video on YouTube that was attached to the creepypasta itself. The video is called Squidward Suicide Original, and it just shows a picture of Squidward with bloodshot eyes staring into the camera. Some weird low quality audio can be heard throughout the full video, but other than that there really isn't much else. Someone actually made a fake episode surrounding Squidward's suicide, and this episode is called Red Mist. It has over
I heard
a
of that
million
too.
views on YouTube,
Yeah,
and
I've
it's
seen
an edit
this.
of a current SpongeBob episode. There are poorly edited bloodshot eyes on many of the fish in
Oh.
this video. Towards the end, we see a zoom in on Squidward's face as he gets the red eyes and then stares into the camera in a very ominous way.
Whoa. That's not terrifying at all.
This entire lost episode is obviously fictional, but the overall idea of it is honestly pretty creepy. One thing I do want to mention though, is that there is a modern SpongeBob episode that actually has the themes of this fake lost episode. The season 8 episode,
Yeah.
Are You Happy Now, is where Squidward realizes that he has no happy memories and he becomes extremely depressed. There's actually a joke where it looks like he's about to hang himself, which
I see this episode a lot. I see this episode. I actually remember this.
is very dark. The creepypasta Squidward's Suicide came out years before Are You Happy Now, so it wouldn't really be a stretch if the writers of SpongeBob got inspiration from that. Another interesting lost cartoon episode is Dead Bart, which is a season 1 Simpsons episode that never came to air. This episode started out with poor quality, and the Simpsons family was in a plane. Bart was messing around, but then he broke a window and was sucked out to his death. Act 2 of the episode involved a lot of crying from Bart's family, and this went on for several minutes.
Oh yeah,
In the
Dead Bart,
final
I
act of
remember
the
this.
episode, it's a year later and the family visits the graveyard to see Bart again. Attached to the creepypasta page is a video called Die Simpsons Dead Bart, along with some German. The video is an edited grainy version of the Simpsons theme song, and then it's just static for quite a while. In the last minute and a half, we see Bart lying in a coffin and the Simpsons family crying. This video was made to replicate what happened in the story, and while the full edited video isn't good, the premise of Dead Bart is truly a creepy one. The next creepypasta lost
Oh
episode
god,
I
not
want to
this
talk about
one. I
is
remember
Max
this.
and Ruby 0004.
Triple
It's
four.
probably the most unique one so far because there's actually pictures and stuff that we can see as the story is being told. Basically, it's about this person who wants to get a Max and Ruby DVD for his young cousin. He comes
That's what I'm
across this
planning on
DVD
getting,
that just
by the
has
way.
Max and Ruby
Not,
drawn
no, not this cred. That's fake.
in there like a kid would do it, and he put it in the DVD player only to realize that it was completely normal. But when the narrator is babysitting his cousin, a scream was heard, and it was because of what was happening in Max and Ruby 0004. It was Max and Ruby, but they had no real faces, and their eyes were
I
blacked
don't know why
out and
Ruby's
just
wearing a
gone.
red shirt in this.
Then there was a sound of static and choking, soon to be revealed as the parents of Max and Ruby. Later in this episode, Max kills himself, and then Ruby is the last one alive in the family. At the very end, we see Max and Ruby stare to the audience with no eyes, while the text above says, "Death is our only release." Someone made a video to go along with this lost episode creepypasta, and it's very creepy.
Like this crap for an example. Chat, this is the reason why this creepypasta is terrible. Like, it ruined literally my entire Max Ruby childhood.
Again, of course, this is completely fictional, but the whole idea of it is just really scary and messed up. I can never imagine something like this happening in Max and Ruby, but with creepypastas, anything can happen. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Even though the lost episode
Let's watch Max Ruby. I don't know if we should watch this. Oh, shoot. Cover it. Cover it. Cover it. Okay, thank God. Ruby 0004. Am I gonna regret? No. 4. Is this it? Triple 4 right here, chat. Chat, is this it? Wait, hold up. But there's an end screen at the end, so, Wait, does this have an end screen? Yeah, it does. Chat, what am I supposed to do about this? Original? Oh my god, excuse the voice crack. Original. I'm sorry, I spelled it terribly incorrect. That's 2013. Chat. Wait, hold up. Wait, hold up. Wait, rip mommy and oh yeah. Rip mommy and daddy. Hold up. I know. It's Max Ruby, isn't it? Everything. Excuse my voice. It's allergies. I'm getting a creepypasta reading. Oh yeah, we have the original clips, by the way, of the screaming. You know, when Ruby screams, it's from like these weird kids screaming in like NBC News. Watch.
Once.
What did I say, chat? What did I legit say? I like found that out, and that was legit shocking. Like, that was shocking to find out. Ronnie Zamora used to be addicted to this. I actually used to be addicted to this. 2020. Okay, I'm still trying to find it. I know, I'm scrolling. You know what? Oh, wait, there's my old videos. You know what, chat? We'll just watch the version with the end screen. Alright, here we go. Max Ruby 000. Alright, here we go. Here we go. I'm actually gonna legit just scare myself with this. What is this crap? It's... I already know what's gonna happen. Screaming right now. And here it comes. I was gonna legit turn on my volume, but I realized that was a bad idea, chat. Chat, I didn't even know what to do. After revealing before it talks about the creepypasta, we're gonna react. I don't think we'll. I mean, we could do that. That'd be a bad idea.
It's a shame.
It's a shame. We get it. I actually knew facts about this. Cow. I actually knew a lot of facts about this creepypasta in 2020, 2 years ago, but now it's now officially. I mean, I kind of like this creepypasta because it's, you know, creepypasta related. Wait, that Max Ruby episode is probably... I forgot what it's called. Shoot. Oh, crap. Don't look, kids. Please don't look. Don't look, kids. That is dead. Or they're dead. Yeah, it's Max Ruby's dad. There's the mom. That's not the mom's shirt. That's literally how they were born. Oh wait, hold up.
Burn it. all.
Haha, censor that. See, I didn't want to get. Oh hi. Hey, that's the same exact thing Suicide Mouse did. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. Chat, you ready? And it's that scream from MC News thingy, but it's slowed down. At any rate. That fries animation. Oh, I actually agree. Oh, I heard the scream before. It's just a sound effect, and it's real. Wait, who is that? I see someone in the back. Hold up, who is that? I legit see someone in the back. Ow, my ears. That was loud. Oh wait, what's happening this? Oh yeah, this part. It's this part.
Whoever's watching this is because you never watched of me, my brother's episodes. So
One of these days, you'll regret it.
one of these
You'll regret
days,
this. You'll regret this.
You will
Regret this.
regret this.
Told you. Chat, what? Oh, here comes the dial-up noise. Good lord, where'd he find that? I'm not even joking. Where the heck did he find that? Well, we got this version to react. Hold up. I'm not gonna go watch the playlist. I'm not watching the playlist, chat. Alright. Alright. Here we go. Max and oh, guys, I just realized there's a mod. Bro, that creepypasta brought back so many memories of losing my past self being annoying. All right, here we go. Yeah, I remember this version. I actually remember this version. Steph Fry's animation, I agree with you. The creepypasta's terrible. I mean, I'm starting to like it again now, cause you know it's scary. Bro, that's the whole entire Max Ruby theme song. Literally not copyrighted at all. You're looking. I know. This is literally the beginning part of Max Ruby 4 chat. That's literally how everything started. Okay. It leads to the entire plot. Rip mommy and daddy. Episode 003, 001, 002, 003, and 004. Hey, that's the parents. Oh, here comes the screaming and choking. Oh god. Ow, my ears! Here, listen. You saw they were going. It sounded like they were like legit choking on pizza. I'm not even joking. Okay, I'm not trying to joke around, people. Iconic. Wait, we gotta get ready to say burn in heck, chat. Oh, they're crying because the parents dead. Maybe that's the. Hold up, that's probably the reason why their parents didn't appear in the first season, but they did in season 6. Ice cream music. Why are you hanging yourself, Max? You're literally TikTok famous, dude. Yeah, do we have 20K followers now? No, we don't, bro. Why don't we have 20K? Give me. Oh, why? I expect you to scream again. That's funny.
Whoever's watching this,
That part's iconic.
this is because you didn't watch me or my brother's episodes.
My brother's episodes.
If you are watching this,
One of these days.
please,
You'll regret this. Why are her eyes blue?
please,
Oh, snap. Oh, dial up. Dial up internet. Memories, that's still in the end. There's the intro again. That is their only release. R.I.P. Mommy and Daddy. Sheesh, dude. I never expect to return watching that. Seriously. Yeah, I'm gonna clip that as a video so you guys could go watch that on my main channel, but not at the second. I mean, I could start screen recording it right now, but let's continue I did not mean to do that. I mean, we could full screen. I might have to hold up here. I'm gonna go on my gaming chair.
Lost episodes of cartoons can be really messed up and creepy. There are many creepypastas that talk about lost cartoon episodes, ones that never
I
aired
see,
and nobody.
Wait, where's Sonic.exe at? Chad, do you see Sonic.exe? Oh wait, I don't think it's on there because it's a video game. Oh, okay. Wait, is this the same? Oh wait, it says more, so there's definitely
Can
more. We
find
gotta
real
see-
footage
gotta
of
do.
them. Keep in mind that this video is purely for entertainment purposes, and these creepypastas are all fictional. It's still really scary to think about these and how the internet can make such dark stories. This video does have some dark themes, so you should watch it at your own risk. With all that being said, let's get on to some of the creepiest lost cartoon episodes. First, we're going to be talking about The Grieving from the Amazing
I've
World of
seen this.
Gumball. This story in particular is extremely disturbing. So it starts off with the narrator Sarah watching Adult Swim really late into the morning, and then an ad
Adult
comes on
Swim?
for a special
What was
episode
it?
of The Amazing World of Gumball. The title card reveals that the episode is called The Grieving, and it was 30 minutes instead of the usual 11. The episode began with Gumball standing
Fun
alone.
fact. Cartoon Network did a video when they were gonna show legit The Grieving, but they trolled us with that chipmunk playing the trumpet. I want to show it to you guys, but it might be copyright, so we ain't doing that.
Facing a corner of his dimly lit school classroom, crying and completely miserable. It was nighttime outside, and nobody else was around him as he cried for a minute of the episode. After this scene, we see Gumball's father, Richard, looking even more miserable and sobs intensely while sitting on a sofa. Richard's crying gradually got worse, and it wasn't the normal cartoon crying you'd see, but instead more realistic and depressing.
Oh god.
Eventually, the scene changed to Gumball's parents in Principal Brown's
Inappropriate.
office. The principal informs them that Anais and Darwin were not present earlier that day. Their bodies had been found, and then it goes into graphic and nauseating detail to describe that.
Blood.
After this scene, we get an insanely creepy flashback of the police searching the wooded area outside of the school. They finally discover the horrible fate of Anais and realize that her head was found in a small box. Realistic blood covered the box completely, but Anais's head was drawn in the normal cartoonish style. After watching this scene, the narrator calls her brother and asks if he has seen this on TV as well. She finds out that only she can see The Grieving, and an old rerun of a Looney Tunes short is
Let's
playing
go.
on her brother's TV.
I love Looney Tunes.
Then we get back to the episode after the narrator desperately tries to turn off her TV and stop playing the episode, but nothing is working and she is forced to watch the rest. Gumball's parents were still talking to the principal, asking if Gumball was alright, seemingly unaware of the previous moments where they found out Gumball died. The police were called again, and Gumball was found in a classroom hanging by a noose. Blood covered the knife behind him, and blood covered his clothing. The episode ended with Gumball's dead body hanging in the corner, fading to black. In the credits, the narrator discovers a familiar name and messages him on Twitter. But before she can
Lol,
message him,
Twitter.
she sees a few video clips after the credits of various disturbing things. I don't want to say exactly what they were because honestly it was terrible to read, but you probably don't want to know. Eventually it's found out
I'm gonna know. I'm gonna know right now. I'm actually gonna know right now, chat. Hold up. The Grieving. Why is it called The Grieving, chat? Hold up. Grieving. Oh, wait, hold up. Gumball. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about earlier. Oh, actually, you're right. We aren't gonna know.
that this episode was just a sketch of the Wattersons and Friends, something never supposed to be released, and it was made a very long time ago. But then this person who worked on the show says that there was no blood and guts in the episode, no dead bodies, and nothing really creepy. The theory is that some lunatic edited the tape, hijacked the local TV station, and got the episode to air on the narrator's local Cartoon Network station. Someone made this episode
How
in
dare
video
they?
form, and it's pretty creepy.
Bro, I've seen this so many. Bro, there's actually a game of The Grieving, and I haven't played it at all. I kind of would regret playing it, you know. You know this, chat, remember?
The next Lost episode is not as well known as The Grieving, but I found this one really scary. It's an episode of Blue's Clues called No Clues. The narrator tells this story as a flashback since it happened in 2001, and he was recommended by his older sister to watch a Blue's Clues VHS. Strangely, it was a red VHS, but the back and other sides were all white. His older sister, Julie, put the VHS in the player and watched the Blue's Clues episode. It began with a weird Nick Jr. logo on the screen for 7 seconds, and then it went to the actual episode. The Blue's Clues intro started, but there was no joyful guitar music and instead depressing piano sounds. Steve says, "Hi, play with me," in a voice that didn't sound like Steve at all. Then there's static and the house door opens, revealing a man that looks nothing like Steve but still wearing the same clothes as him. Then the TV went into static and Steve was back to normal. He said, "Hello little boys and girls, we don't play Blue's Clues today, sorry." The background kid said, "Why not?" And then the screen went into a tiny burst of static, revealing a dead corpse of Blue. She was on her back, her stomach ripped open, and her intestines tied around her. The eyes were popped out of her sockets. Steve began to smile at the camera and then said, "You kids will learn about death." Soon after, there's static and a 666 can be seen if you look closely enough. Then Steve gives Mr. Salt and Mrs. Pepper juice, but they soon realize that it's actually cyanide and poison. Steve was satisfied at his murder, so he kept going. He went after Shovel and Pail, telling them that they're next. He sang Ring Around the Rosie in a creepy little girl's voice as he grabbed Pail and killed her. More static came on the TV for about a minute, and then we see Steve and Slippery Soap. Slippery is blindfolded, unaware of the terrible fate awaiting him. Steve counted to 3, then sliced him with a knife. He then turned to the screen and said that Satan was his king, that he needed to kill himself to make him happy. A rope sound came out of nowhere and the Nick logo came on. It was in the shape of a knife, with the top of it being 666 and the bottom of it saying "To Turno," which meant your turn. There were no credits and the screen became static. The final Lost cartoon episode I'm talking about is Suicide.
We already seen this. Like, we already seen Suicide Mouse, chat. Hold up.
There is no catchy tune playing in the background.
Yeah, we already seen this. We seen this
Then it
last
cut
night.
to Suicides, but thanks.
We seen that last night. Goodness, there's more to go. There's like 8 of them.
Videos about Lost cartoon episodes. If you're new here, basically this is a small series of videos where I go over some really messed up stories about Lost episodes. They're all creepypastas and they're all fictional, but still this is some extremely scary stuff. I have to warn you that this video is pretty scary and it has some dark themes, so if you're scared easily then don't continue watching. If you're brave, then stick around and see how far you can make it into the video without getting as spooked as these spooky scary skeletons. So let's start off with a story called Gregory's Room. Now this isn't too scary, but it's better to do the less creepy story first. So this creepypasta starts off with the narrator telling us he has a cheerful life. One great part about his childhood is watching TV cartoons in the 90s. He had a dream of becoming a cartoon tester, and soon his parents found out. One afternoon they took him to the Nickelodeon headquarters to possibly see what job he can have in the future. The narrator and a few other kids sat in a big room, waiting for someone to enter the room and tell them what to do. Eventually a staff member came out of nowhere and he held a CD for a new cartoon. He told the kids that Nickelodeon was going to make a new series on Nick Jr. and the kids cheered. So this staff member puts a CD in the DVD player and then leaves the room after saying he'll come back later. The TV went to a static screen and then showed a fireplace burning. We see the whole room and there's no music at all. We then see a chair facing the window towards the night sky. There's a bald head on the chair and it slowly turns as it stares at the camera with a creepy and realistic face. He begins to talk to the viewer and says that this is Gregory and this is his room. He tells the viewer that we will have fun, just the two of us. Gregory kept saying that it was just the two of us, no parents, no police, and then he states that nobody can hear us. There's distorted background music as his face gets closer and closer, and then flames start to appear on the screen. Gregory tells the viewer that he needs love, and then the episode ends with the paralyzed face all over the screen.
But no matter what we do, it will just be the two of us, alone in this room. Just me and you, no parents, no police, no one can hear you.
Oh my God.
Embrace me. I need love.
Then the staff member came back in and all the kids were crying uncontrollably at the horrifying sight. This next story is seriously messed up.
I'm looking this up right now. Gregory's Room. Oh, it is a creepypasta, maybe. Wait, it was a kid. Nah, this never existed.
There's no footage or pictures of this, so bear with me as I just use normal pictures from the show. So anyway, this is called the Magic School Bus Original Pilot, which begins with the origin story of the Magic School Bus. It was supposed to be a line of horror stories for kids, with 3 being shown in each episode. This is a similar concept to Goosebumps, and it's much different than what the Magic School Bus actually became. In the episode, the school children were brought onto a school bus, which didn't have eyes at the time. The bus turned into a spaceship and they went into space, where strange stuff began to happen. Miss Frizzle explains that there's an override lock on the ship, so nobody can leave until it has reached its destination. She says that they are hurtling towards the sun, and then she jokingly says that she could turn off the airlock and suffocate everyone. She laughs it off and then suggests everyone should go into forced sleep. She says that there are 9 stasis beds, but 11 people including herself. Arnold must stay up while everyone goes into stasis sleep, but then he has a weird talk with Miss Frizzle. She says that there were originally 30 students in the class, but 20 of them died. She then says she is going into the upper airlock where there's a separate bed. It'll take 2 years to get back home instead of 6 months like she said earlier, so everyone has to wait longer. Now this is where the story takes an extremely dark turn. Arnold is staying up alone while everyone is asleep, but he doesn't have enough food to survive. We see a montage of time passing and Arnold's looking nervous and hungry. Arnold yells out to Miss Frizzle that she didn't give him enough food, but then she ominously says, "Oh, but Arnold, I did." The camera pans towards all the sleeping bodies of the other Magic School Bus students, and then the voice of Miss Frizzle says, "Eat them." Arnold soon made the horrible realization that Miss Frizzle hadn't put them into stasis, she euthanized them. After he made this realization, he noticed a scalpel appearing near the door. He took it and cut into Phoebe's belly, slicing her open and eating her lungs and intestines. He peels and eats her skin, then moves on to the face as he slices off her eyebrows and the nose. For the next month, he picks on the remains of Phoebe, but then there's another time lapse and Arnold has begun to hit puberty. He has nibbled on the ears of all the students except his cousin Janet. The scalpel appears again and he decides who to eat next. Carlos is the unfortunate victim and is sliced open. Over time, Arnold keeps eating his fellow students as the days pass and he has nothing else to eat. The episode ends with him slicing his own neck with the scalpel and killing himself. Now, since the Magic School Bus one was so terrifying, I'm gonna be ending this video off with one of the funnier Lost episodes. And when I say funny, I mean it's so bad it's funny. So if you were scared by the last 2, hopefully this final story will lighten the mood a bit. It begins with a Cartoon Network intern tripping on the floor and finding a VHS tape. It said Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends unaired episode. This guy took the tape home and played the episode. It started with an intro that looked wrong and completely unfinished. The name of the episode was The Death of Mac, and already this seemed odd. Mac runs to Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends and then Blue opens the door. He says in an oddly deep voice, "Hi Mac, there's something I need to tell you." Then Mac says in a slightly demonic voice, "What do you need to tell me?" Blue whispers to Mac, then Blue yells that Mac's life is his and pulls out a gun, shooting Mac in the gut. Somehow Mac is still alive as he says, "How could you?" And Blue yells, "Because I can!" shooting Mac again, killing him. The sky turns blood red and then Blue goes around Foster's killing everybody. He sticks a chainsaw in Frankie's stomach which kills her instantly. Blue shouts, "Sweet dreams, Frankie!" and begins to laugh. Blue transforms into a demon. The episode ends and the credits roll. Outside of the TV, the VCR explodes. Anyway, that's all.
Freaking crap, dude. Animated.
To the prayers, you probably watch at night. And if it's night where you are right now, then I send my prayers. There are cartoon episodes that are supposedly lost and we can never see exactly how they were, but there are stories about them. Keep in mind these are creepypastas and they are fictional, but I still think they're really interesting. And remember, the stuff in this video can be extremely messed up and creepy, especially to the younger kids out there, so stop watching right now if you don't want to be scared. With all that being said, let's get on to the first story. We're beginning with a lost SpongeBob episode called SpongeBob Schizophrenia. It was a tape found in Nickelodeon Studios with the writing SpongeBob Season 10 premiere episode. The episode started out in SpongeBob's house and he looks crazy. He says, "The shadows play with me," and then he laughs manically. SpongeBob takes out a cartoon pistol and kills Gary, but the body isn't shown. Then he hears a yell from Squidward telling him to shut up. SpongeBob looks straight at Squidward and says, "The shadows shall engulf you, mere mortal. Give praise to them or perish." A time card appears saying 25 past midnight. Then on screen, Squidward wakes up only to see a square shadow holding a chainsaw. SpongeBob cuts up Squidward with the saw and the blood splatters on the wall. SpongeBob comes out of Squidward's door and holds his severed head. He runs to get knives from his house, then chooses his next target. Arriving at Patrick's house, SpongeBob immediately stabs him and draws a pentagram on Patrick's floor. Then we see SpongeBob at a table with Squidward's severed head, eyeballs hanging out and brain exposed. Squidward's left eye blinks to reveal that he's somehow still alive, but slowly dying. His head begins to snap and fall apart to only show a pile of organs. SpongeBob kisses these organs, then says to Squidward's organs, "I am your Lord and Savior, Bikini Bottom. Praise me." After saying these final words, SpongeBob takes a knife and stabs himself in the heart. The episode ends immediately after the suicide. There's not a whole lot of information on where to find this lost episode, although there is a possible audio track. It lasts 10 minutes, but there's only a large static sound after 6 minutes of listening. There have been many attempts to find this lost Nickelodeon tape, but nobody has been successful. Next up is a Dragon Tales lost episode. The narrator got a strange VHS in the mail and didn't know where it came from. He was curious about it, so he put it in the VCR. At first, there was a brief advertisement for Chuck E. Cheese's, and it was from the 90s, so it was clearly recorded around that time. Then we see a message saying that Dragon Tales is coming up next, and soon after, the intro of the show started. It cut to a picture of Max sitting in a yellow chair with the words Dragon Tales written above him in red. His eyes were bloodshot and tiny, and it almost looked like he needed to cry. Then the actual episode started, and we see Max and Emmy in Dragonland. Ord was sitting right behind a rock with a portable radio beside him, and he had no expression on his face. He walked without emotion around Dragonland as the sky was blood red. He gave a slick smile, then a gigantic scream erupted out of nowhere. Immediately the screen cut to a realistic picture of Ord in a bony-like state, lying dead on the ground with his eyes torn out. There's a message carved out on his head with his blood saying, "Hail Satan." Later on in the story, Cassie and Zach are seen in silence. You could only hear the breathing of these characters, but then Cassie opened her mouth in the most ear-piercing, loudest sound the narrator has heard in his life. Cassie said to the viewer, "We must pray to Satan," and the episode faded black. This was only the halfway point, however, as the nightmare continued. An organ track loops and 500 dragons keep chanting, "Cassie, Cassie, Cassie." She jumps into a nearby fire and we see Cassie's flesh burning. She looked at the viewer and said, "You did this to me," and then her skin was burnt to ashes. Many dragons began to scratch at each other and were devouring each other, pouncing on Cassie's remains. A few more deaths happened later on in this lost episode, but they were all seemingly connected to the devil. In the very final moments, a terrifying figure appeared on screen and it looked like Satan. He opened his mouth to let out the ear-piercing sound that was heard earlier, and this went on for a while. The narrator shut off the VCR immediately and put the tape in his garbage can, but it soon disappeared and was never seen again. The final lost cartoon episode I'll be talking about today is an Invader Zim one called Gur's Rage. The episode started out with an intro, but there was no music to go along with it. When the intro ended, the audio came back and we see Gur eating a taco. Zim snatched the taco and shouted at Gur about how smelly human food should never be brought in their base, but Gur ignored him. His eyes turned red and evil music began to play as Gur busted open the front door and walked out without his disguise. He went to Dib's house and Dib kept going on and on about exposing Zim, but Gur came closer to the screen. Gur ignored everything Dib said and tore out his organs, then he put the organs in a taco shell. After killing Dib, he went to Professor Membrane's lab and knocked over a bunch of different machines, causing fire. Gur smashed Professor Membrane and ripped out his liver, stuffing it in the taco shell. He looked upstairs and knew exactly who his next target was. He flew over to Gaz's room, his hand turned into a buzzsaw, and then he began to slash at Gaz. She couldn't get out of her room, and so Gur dissected Gaz, slicing up her heart and putting the pieces in the taco shell. Gur went back to Zim's house, getting hold of a harpoon and shooting Zim, killing him. Gur put Zim's pieces inside the taco shell, which was finally a finished product. The episode ends as we see Gur eating the organ-filled taco with blood and guts everywhere.
Hello, I'm Jason and I guest animated this video. If you want to check out what I do, I make reviews of TV shows and those reviews are animated as well. They're over on my channel Season Reviews, so go subscribe over there and obviously here too. Thanks.
Anyway, that's all for this video.
Welcome.
Subscribe.
Thanks.
Today I'm taking a look at some of the creepiest Lost cartoon episodes. These are creepypastas and completely fictional, but they're still pretty scary. If you're a younger viewer, you may want to click away right now because there is disturbing content in this video. Good luck to anyone who watches this. See if you can make it through the whole thing. With all that being said, let's begin. First up, we have a Lost episode revolving around Courage the Cowardly Dog. Scooby-Doo was airing on Cartoon Network one late night on TV, and it said that Courage was coming up next. But after the theme song, the screen just went black for 5 minutes with no explanation. After those 5 minutes, however, the episode began and Courage stared lifelessly at the screen. His eyes were plain red with no pupil or iris as he just stared at the viewer. Shortly after, we see him walking down a creepy road that seemed to lead nowhere. He was holding a knife with blood on the end of it, but that was still unexplained. This lasted for a minute as we see him walking this road with creepy music and some static. Eventually it's revealed that he was walking to his house as he sees Muriel and Eustace sitting inside. While there was silence for a while, this piece was completely broken when Muriel used her rolling pin and beat Eustace with no mercy. You could hear screams of pain and see the blood splatter. Courage stood there just watching the scene play out as he held the bloody knife. He started talking in a strange language and then Muriel looked up at him. Courage slowly walked over to her and slit her throat with blood dripping down everywhere. He dragged the bodies of Eustace and Muriel to the basement where you can see a bunch of other dead bodies. Courage draws a pentagram around these bodies, lights the pile on fire, and yells in a distorted voice. He jumped into the fire and screamed as it burned his flesh. The house burned to the ground and a storm ends the episode. The credits featured scratchy music, static, and the only words were, "Made by Lucifer." There's a lost episode called deadsponge.avi that features everyone's favorite underwater sponge. It is lost somewhere on a video sharing website online, but nobody knows where to find it. The video begins with an outside view of SpongeBob's house for 2 minutes. You can see that the door is open, but nothing happens on screen, and we are left to these 2 minutes of silence. Shortly after, the camera went to SpongeBob's bedroom where SpongeBob is sleeping. His alarm clock makes a loud sound for 20 seconds, and then SpongeBob got up to cheer. He got up and looked at his calendar, realizing that today is a day where he could get his driver's license. As he jumped for joy, he ran out of the house and went to Mrs. Puff's boating school. As he is driving the boat later on, he crashes into another boat, which causes his blood and brain to slowly ooze out of his holes. We see a shot of him for 2 minutes and he does absolutely nothing on the ground, and the screen just cuts to black. Fast moving clips play for several seconds along with a beep sound. Then it cuts to a funeral with a bunch of tombstones, and every friend of SpongeBob was there. They threw flowers at the tombstone and began to cry. However, an odd Russian voice is heard in the background that isn't clear at first. It says death and misery are both in your hands. We continue to see this funeral scene play out, but then the crying and deep Russian voice stopped. Patrick stares at the viewer in a fourth wall break, and then he takes his eyeballs out. It then cuts to a realistic picture of SpongeBob drawn on paper with a stitched mouth, trying to scream but unable to. There's a deep voice screaming something with some static, and this is assumed to be the same Russian voice as before. There's a few more seconds of static, and the video ends. The final lost episode I'll be talking about is from the Loud House. The title is called Enough is Enough. It was found on an obscure website, and apparently it was meant to be the finale of the 3rd season. Unfortunately, it was scrapped after its production was done because the episode was way too disturbing. The episode began with an outside view of the house, except there was no music. Lincoln was watching TV, and then he turned to the camera. He asked the viewer, "Don't you just hate living with 10 sisters? Well, sometimes I do." His smile turned upside down, and he goes on and on about how his sisters aren't beneficial to have around. Luann appeared and told him a joke with Lincoln's hand on his face. When the jokes were over, he took his hand off, and it revealed his angry eyes. "Enough is enough," Lincoln said as he grabbed Luann. He slammed her against the wall, knocking her out. He looked at her unconscious body on the ground and realized that killing made him feel so alive. We then cut to Lori texting on her phone. She leaves the room possibly to go to the bathroom and then came back to see Lincoln inside. Lori was hit on the head by her phone, glass shattering everywhere. She began to bleed with glass pieces stuck on her face, and then it cut to black and we start to see various other Lincoln killings. Lincoln choked Lynn from behind, and it didn't feel like the cartoony style the Loud House is so synonymous with. He killed the other sisters in violent ways, like smashing Luna's guitar in her face and setting Lucy on fire. 1 week later, Lincoln was staring at the bodies of his dead sisters, and he said he needed one more kill. He realized that he must kill himself, so the screen cut to black for 10 seconds and appeared with Lincoln hanging from the ceiling, back turned against the camera. Anyway, that's all for this video. Subscribe for more awesome cartoon videos.
Number 6. Go chat.
And now we move on to the 6th installment in the series of creepiest lost cartoon episodes. There are many cartoons that supposedly air an episode, but then it gets lost and nobody seems to mention it again. That's what I'll be talking about today. Keep in mind these are creepypastas and completely fictional, but they're still really creepy stories. As always, a warning to my younger viewers out there. These videos have some violent images and themes, so click away if you don't want to see that. If you're brave, see how long you can last in the video before you leave. With that being said, let's get on to some of the creepiest lost cartoon episodes. First up is an episode from the Fairly OddParents called Sweet Revenge. It opened in Timmy's bedroom and he woke up to have his fairies greet him, very similar to other episodes. 1 minute in, he went downstairs and his dad walked through the front door with a bloodstained machete in his hand. Timmy screamed and asked what his dad did. Timmy's dad kept on mumbling, but you could only hear Berg and the string of gibberish. He seemed to be going crazy. In the next scene, Timmy was in his bed and he had an expression like he just saw a ghost. You could then see a shadow of his dad walking down the hallway holding the machete in his hand. Cosmo warned Timmy and then they tried to poof away, but Timmy's dad burst through the door and attempted to kill his son. The knife didn't hit Timmy, so his dad instead turned around and gouged out Cosmo's eye. Cosmo let out a throat-shredding scream as blood poured out. The next scene had Timmy teleported to downtown Dimsdale, possibly by Wanda. Timmy picked up a payphone to call the police, but his dad's voice was on the line. The episode changed scenes and Timmy woke up in bed like nothing happened. He only heard Wanda's crying and then saw that the machete was still in Cosmo's skull. There was a pool of blood forming under his head on the floor. Then Cosmo's eyes suddenly turned red and binary code flashed across the screen. When the end credits showed, the narrator looked up what it meant and decoded the message to this: "He was first, you are next. When you see the red light, you will die." The first season of SpongeBob SquarePants is loved by many, yet nobody ever talks about a secret episode in it called Sponge.avi. In this story, the narrator came across a virus and it took him to a site where there was a black background and a huge button. He clicked it, which resulted in a download of a file called spongecry.avi. He played the file and the lost episode began. It started out like any normal SpongeBob episode, but the color was distorted and there was no happy music during the theme song. You see SpongeBob sitting in his red chair at home, but all the furniture around him was gone. He was crying hard, basically sounding like a real human's cry. The camera zoomed really close in on his face, like it was being videotaped by someone else. Then the camera zoomed back out to show a rotting corpse of Gary laying on the floor. Gary was destroyed by a sledgehammer, his eyes were on the floor, his shell cracked and showing the disturbing insides of him. Suddenly, SpongeBob got out of his chair and ran straight forward. The episode went to black for 2 seconds and then came back with SpongeBob's face pressed right onto the camera, looking at the viewer with an intense stare. His eyes were black and he let out a deafeningly loud scream. Then the clip went to static for 1 minute and 38 seconds. When it came back and we saw the inside of the Krusty Krab, there was just complete silence. But then SpongeBob pressed his face against the camera and screamed again, although this lasted less than a second. It cut back to him crying on his chair, but every once in a while he'd become more distorted. SpongeBob himself decayed gradually, and by the end you can only see static and screaming. After watching this lost SpongeBob clip, the narrator has been angrier and anxious, and this short haunts his mind all the time. Finally, I'll be talking about a lost Adventure Time episode. The narrator found a file of an episode called It's Not My Fault. It was a full 30 minutes instead of the normal 11. He clicked it, and as you'd expect by now, it starts out colorful, and nothing was really out of the ordinary. We see Finn chasing Jake around their treehouse because Jake had found Finn's diary. Eventually, penguins break through the wall and start to carry Jake away. However, the penguin doesn't answer Finn when he asks what they're doing. It is learned that the Ice King is still kidnapping princesses, and that the penguins thought a princess was at the treehouse. Next, there's a big scene with Finn and Jake going to the Ice King's fortress surrounded by his army of penguins. The Ice King says that Princess Bubblegum will either marry him or he will kill every other princess. Because she's so noble, of course she would be forced to marry him. Finn explodes in a rage of violence and unleashes a mighty scream as he knocks the Ice King to the ground and draws his sword. Finn continues to shake in anger even after he pins the Ice King down and the Ice King admits defeat. Everyone in the room goes silent and stares as Finn lifts his sword and says that it's his job to fight evil and that this will be the last time the Ice King will kidnap someone. Finn brings the sword down into the Ice King's neck, severing his head completely. He then looked around, stuttered, and said it was an accident. He screamed, "It's not my fault," and ran off into the snow. Next scene, Finn is hiding inside a snow fort and he's trying to process what exactly he's done. Gunter stumbles upon him and something inside of Finn snaps. He screams again, "It's not my fault!" and arcs his sword to slice Gunter completely in half. Finn then realized that in order to solve this problem, he would have to kill everyone who witnessed the previous crime. We then see a gruesome montage play out where Finn brutally murders the princesses that saw him take Ice King's life. After murdering these princesses, the last witness to the crime was his best friend. Jake says that he took it too far with this and that he needs to face the consequences. Jake hugged Finn, but at the same time, Finn buried the sword deep in his best friend's chest. "This is all my fault," Finn says as he watches Jake die. He looks up to Princess Bubblegum nearby and says, "This is all my fault" once more. He raises his sword, then the screen went to black. Anyway, that's all for this video. Subscribe for more awesome content.
We got one more. Two more actually.
Welcome back to the creepiest Lost Cartoon Episode series. In these videos, I tell some Lost episode stories that people have created online. Keep in mind these are fictional creepypastas and aren't legitimate episodes, but they can still be pretty entertaining to read. If you're a really young viewer, you might be disturbed by the violence in these stories, so continue watching at your own discretion. With all that being said, let's get on to the Lost episodes. First up is a Lost Cartoon episode entitled Goodbye SpongeBob. The narrator of the story said they went on YouTube to search for SpongeBob episodes, but came across one with a very weird title of Goodbye SpongeBob Lost Episode. They decided to click it, and after a few minutes the episode finally began. It started with the normal theme song that you'd expect, but the title card had an ominous feel to it. SpongeBob was watching TV when all of a sudden there was a knock on the door. Patrick walked in and claimed that Sandy had died in a plane crash because of a drunk pilot. SpongeBob laughed and treated it like a joke, but Patrick confirmed that she was actually dead. SpongeBob immediately started crying and ran to his bedroom where he could be alone with his thoughts. There's a next day time card that pops up, then we see all the main characters at a funeral. A loud static sound could be heard during this scene, so it was hard to understand exactly what the characters were saying. Then the episode cuts to a shot of Sandy's corpse as blood covers her entire body. 25 seconds of a black screen later, we see SpongeBob sitting at his desk in his house writing something down. "Without Sandy in my life, I am nothing. She made me and Patrick what we are today, and I'm thankful for her. But now with her dead, I just have no purpose in my life. I cannot live without Sandy. If she is dead, then I want to be dead. Goodbye, people. I am really sorry if I am hurting anyone for doing this, but I can't just live like this without Sandy. If anyone finds this note, then I am long gone dead. Goodbye, cruel world." Complete silence fills the room as SpongeBob says farewell to everything. The scene cuts to a rope hanging from the ceiling as he brings the noose around his neck, standing up on a stool. He sighs, then kicks the stool under him. SpongeBob dies instantly, and there are no more sound effects in the scene. Blood oozes out of his holes, spilling on the floor and drenching it in a dark red nightmare. Creepy images flashed onto the screen rapidly, and on the bottom was text that said, "RIP SpongeBob." According to the narrator of the story, this YouTube video was taken down shortly after viewing due to a copyright claim by Viacom. The file has never been found to this day. The next Lost episode I'll be talking about is called Dora's Real Life. The narrator is a mom who got a Dora DVD for her daughter entitled Dora the Explorer Map Adventures. Her daughter was extremely disturbed after watching this, so the mom watches it herself to see what happened. This DVD started with the Paramount logo, then it showed the Nick Jr. logo, but instead of the normal kid-friendly appearance, the orange Nick was beating up the blue Jr. mercilessly. Then the Dora theme song started and a few things were pretty different. There was an arts and crafts table saying in Spanish, "I have no one to talk to. Help me." The Dora computer game only had Dora herself, and she looked extremely depressed as she pretended to smile. After this weird theme song, we see Dora in a rusty house and she turns to the screen to enthusiastically greet the viewer. A plush monkey says, "And I'm Boots." Dora continued talking to the audience and said that she needs help to get to the big city. She used the map and walked to a troll bridge. A homeless man is seen at this bridge as he requests money from Dora. However, Dora simply calls him a grumpy old troll and asks what his riddle is. The man questions why she does this to him every day, but she ignores him and jumps over the bridge. Next up, she asks the map where the spooky forest is, leading her to polluted streets with graffiti and gang members around. Dora says, "We made it to the spooky forest. Be careful, there can be spooky bats and witches." Then a man comes up and tells Dora he's going to cut her throat, but Dora says, "Swiper, no swiping." However, after saying that, this man shoved Dora and her Boots doll. She fell as her knees were gushing with blood from scraping the concrete. After all this, Dora said in Spanish that she was so alone and she questioned if she should end it all. When she and Boots finally got to the big city, she said in a depressed voice that she made it to the big city, and the song wasn't the typical happy "we did it" song that appears in a normal episode. The screen went black, then it went to a 23 days later time card. Fading to a forest, we see on a tree that there's a decayed Dora, intestines dangled in a grotesquely real fashion. Her eyes were gouged out, her fingers were blue, and blood covered the entire tree. A note here said in Spanish, "The Lord has saved me from this horrible place by making me commit suicide. Suicide is your escape." Finally, let's talk about a Thomas the Tank Engine creepypasta called Thomas and the Children. The narrator of the story popped in a DVD called Thomas and the Children, and there was no main menu that you'd expect to find on every other DVD. The episode began as Thomas had to take some kids to the seaside by the instructions of Sir Topham Hatt. Thomas picked up little wooden children, and we see all of them climbing on board, and then there was a scene with him zooming down the rails and the children having a good time. But up ahead, Bertie the bus was stuck on the railway track, moaning for someone to help him. Bertie stared at Thomas, but Thomas just smiled and started going much faster. He laughed, yet the kids were crying and tears came down from their wooden faces. Immediately, Thomas crashed into Bertie and pieces from both of them flew everywhere. We see brief shots of the wooden children, their heads ripped off, blood splattered everywhere, and tears were still painted onto their faces. At this point in the episode, static covered the entire screen and it was impossible to see what happened with Thomas. There were various disturbing messages like kill, obey, multiply, and die. These messages went on for more than an hour, but static still played and nothing more was seen in the actual episode. The fates of all the characters are unknown from the crash, but it seems likely that everyone, Bertie, Thomas, the children, have died. But anyway, that's all for this video. Subscribe for more. Sometimes I talk about lost episode creepypastas and they can actually be pretty scary, but today is different. Instead of going over relatively nightmarish ones, I'll be reading 2 hilariously bad lost episode stories that will make you laugh instead of screaming in terror. These are bad because they're either not scary at all or incredibly cliche. Now, I don't mean any offense to the people who actually made these creepypastas because this is all in good fun. Also, I will be reading the stories in their entirety, so it's still the author's work without my modifications or summary. With that being said, let's get on to 2 hilariously bad Lost cartoon episodes. First up is a Loud House one called Lost VHS Tape. I always saw the Loud House on Nickelodeon. This became one of my favorite shows and I made a schedule to record every episode. So I thought to myself, could there be any Loud House DVDs or VHS tapes? So I headed to the movie store and I went to the aisle where TV shows have episodes on them. When I went to this aisle, there were numerous DVDs and VHS tapes. I bought 2 SpongeBob DVDs that had every season 1 and 2 episodes since I also liked SpongeBob. But I found this VHS tape of the Loud House called The Loud House, Volume 666. The back only had 6 episodes. The last episode was called Unknown. I watched the tape and it had the normal intro until the title card had a white background with Lincoln's head, but all of a sudden he was all colored in a jet black with scorching fire in his eyes. Side note, there's a lot of run-on sentences. This is really bothering me. Then it showed Lincoln going in his room and saying, "Well, today is the first day of summer and it's time to read my comics in my undies." After that title card showed examples like 1 day later, 2 months later, or 3 weeks later. The title card said 10 minutes later, then their parents Rita and Senior Lynn went out to their ballroom dancing and telling them to lock the door. But like in normal episode, they will not lock the door, but Lenny locked the door, which is strange considering they don't lock the door. Then the next scene was Lenny making an announcement, then she called her siblings. She told everyone, "I'm stupid and I do realize it now, making me a loser." That was the point when out of nowhere she grabbed a gun. Everybody told her, "Don't do it," until Lenny's eyes turned bloodshot red, until a voice in her head said, "Do it." Then she shot herself in mouth. Then static occurred for the last 25 seconds. Then the show came back on. It showed a screenshot of Lenny with blood coming out of her mouth, a nose with the back of her head blown up while the Lincoln and the sisters screamed for their life, and I was at the verge of vomiting. The next couple of days, Lisa was making an experimental bomb when she combined every liquid she had in her small tube jars. She called everyone with a hard object such as a chair, but when this explosion happened, the window was somehow opened, and when the explosion happened, it sent her flying. But when she was about to hit the road pavement, a truck hits Lisa's back, causing her to break her spine as a crack noise happened. When she hit the road pavement, she started crying with blood coming from her eyes and mouth. Lincoln and his sisters came to see what happened and started crying. Lori called the police and ER and they came, and sadly she was pronounced dead at the scene. Okay, no, I cannot do this. I really thought at the start of this video I could read this entire creepypasta, but I just cannot do it. This Loud House one in particular has so many run-on sentences, so many problems with grammar, and nothing in it makes sense. This is not at all how the Loud House characters would act. Okay, I'm just gonna read the last paragraph and then move on to the next story. After that, Luann was making a video for her website and grabbed a gun and said, "What do you call a slingshot with a gun? A gunslinger, ha 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 ha," until she accidentally shot herself. Lincoln and Lynn stormed in and screamed. They saw the video and they were horrified and was buried at the cemetery along with Lenny, Lisa, Luna, Lori, Lana, and Lola. Lynn decided to sleep with Lincoln until they went to one of Lynn's roller derbies, and when she made a flip, she landed on her neck, breaking her neck. Lincoln and his mom crying. Lincoln's mom told him to sleep with him until he stabbed his mom and threw stuff and other stuff around. After that, he said 3 last sentences. I have made this. I was the cost. And finally, Jesus had abandoned us. Until he shot himself, until a note came up saying this episode was made by an unknown person in Syria. It was founded in an abandoned building in a room, and there was a drawer with a VHS, a picture of Lincoln, and a bag of intestines with a picture of disfigured person similar to Chris Savino. I had nightmares for days, and it will be the time I will never forget. Bravo, that was a fantastic creepypasta. I know I didn't read the whole thing, but oh my god, that was insane. So many twists and turns. Let's move on now. Next up is a bad lost cartoon episode called SpongeBob Episode 0. One of my movies was a little heavy, like there were more than 1 disc in there, so I popped open the case and surely enough there were 4 discs crammed in there. The first 2 were Lion King movies. The next was a Finding Nemo special features disc. Then there was 1 DVD that was blank and it simply said SpongeBob Episode 0. Now I have my fair share in liking SpongeBob and I never remember an Episode 0. So I did what anyone else would do and I popped it into my DVD player. The title screen was plain. I pressed on the episode and it started immediately. The title card said Episode 0. It was weird because it was a very dark themed title and it was silent. The episode started with SpongeBob sitting in the diner and he looked very sad. He didn't make any noise and the audio was silent. It then cut to a mangled corpse of Sandy and it cut back to SpongeBob sitting on his bed and the audio was now on. You could hear a very bone-chilling, yes it says bine not bone, a very bone-chilling crying like as if someone knew they were about to die. But SpongeBob didn't move. He just sat there and the crying got louder. It then cut to showing Patrick crying in front of SpongeBob's house, but this only lasted for about 3 seconds. Oddly enough, it then shows Patrick, Squidward, Mr. Krabs, and surprisingly Sandy standing in front of a gravestone. They all looked very sad and you could hear blood-curdling screams coming from the audio. Then we approach the final scene and it cuts to show SpongeBob and Patrick standing side by side. Their eyes were black and expanded and the only 2 colors in this picture is red and black. A demonic voice then said, "Smiling is the mask of the suffering." Then it cuts to black and you then see Bikini Bottom explode. Then the episode ends and the credits are quick and silent. Okay, honestly, that wasn't just bad, that was pretty boring. It didn't really make any sense that Bikini Bottom just exploded in the end. I don't know exactly what was happening. I really tried to pay attention to this one, but I don't think I understand much. And I'm really regretting I read this now, but yeah. That was one bad lost episode. But anyway, that's all for this video. Subscribe for more awesome cartoons.
Wow, we actually reacted to like 8 of them. Wow, I never expected to do this. Wow. What do you think I should react to?
Lost episodes of cartoons can be pretty creepy and messed up. If you didn't know, there are many creepypastas that talk about deleted cartoon episodes, ones that never came to air and nobody can find real footage of them. Keep in mind that this is a video purely for entertainment purposes, and the creepypastas are all fictional. But still, it's interesting to see all this creepy stuff.
Well. Literally. Goodbye, Funky Friday. Okay, we might just do this. Mr. Incredible time. Hold up. I don't even feel like reading all of this. Back on Minecraft. Actually, no, a little bit of it. Your friends online. Free road start playing. This is just. I don't know what to say now. Huh. Am I getting bored already? It's probably becoming uncanny. I should throw it. Oh, it's getting cooler. I warned you. Wow. Right outside. I can literally see you. Astronaut. Okay then. Whoa. That's satisfying. In 50 minutes, I'm gonna end it because I have to go to the store. But why would the float be like that? I'll go back. I'll go on when I come back. Now, your first game you play, is it just Roblox? I think it's just Roblox, chat. Yeah, I think it's just Roblox. Natural disaster survivors. For real? Why does it keep doing that? The elephant. Little Roblox skeleton. It's not. Why didn't you put that? Oh, I think it's Roblox. Your first game ever played. Gosh, I never experienced this at all. You get hit by. What do you get hit by? A real life car. Ah, not realistic. Sonic.exe. And then it's just turning you know what. Yeah. Your Roblox avatar is... Oh my gosh, that seems really amazing. Wait, Roblox Bacon becoming uncanny? Chat, hold up. What is this? I think he made this. Yeah, he made it in Roblox Studio. What did I say? You should make that as a game. I mean, serious. Alright, Spider-Man. Weirdo. Seneca. Not to guess, anything but to guess. Making hair. Let's go. Alright, let's do uncanny now. Oh, I remember that. This was on the 16th. Uncanny and uncanny. Roblox ads. Oh, before and after stuff. Free Robux? No, that's a scam. There you go. In Roblox game, yes. I was like that. I don't do my things like this. Speaking of heck, I bet he got teleported. I bet it's in this video. No, actually, no, it's not. Replace Robot Rock with something that's copyrighted. You get sent to, hold up. You get sent to. Okay, hold up. Your mom sends you. Alright. Spooky Forest, that's hyper realistic, isn't it? You get bitten by your brother. A mosquito. Okay. Your brother. My brother never does that to me. A wasp. Or like creeps. A hamster. Why do they do that? Dogs. Snakes. Snakes. Snakes! Greg, let's get out of here. Lion. Hippo. Look for the title. Tales keeps happening. I think it's happening tomorrow, chat. That same voice in Sonic X chat? Hold up. I mean, I did do a video called Mr. Kirby Can You Get Sent To? And the heck is at the end. So, right here. It's sent to heaven! The back rooms! Chris's house. I don't know why I added this on this video. Cream's house, oh gosh. Mickey Mouse Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Suicide Mouse. Goofy's house. Baldi's schoolhouse. The game itself. Sonic.exe. That's exactly where this music came from, by the way, chat. Oh yeah, wait, what was the other one? Area 51, that is real, by the way. Roblox edition this time, chat. Oh yeah, this music has to be found at the Treasure Island. You guys want to hear the iconic Roblox horror music? Here it is. It's like so iconic, chat, for real. Excuse the voice crack. It's just the Burning Memory, the sequel. See a Roblox character. Cholch. It's legit Cholch. Step 1, find a settle down. Step 2, find some sticks, get lost, hear voices. Blah, 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 blah. At July 15th, already passed chat. And now we get Hello Kitty. I hate Hello Kitty so much, dude. I mean, it is good. Scary Maze game. The Exorcist Girl. Sonic.exe. Again, but the You Can't Run map. Robotnik map from Sonic.exe. Gygus. And he's also in that scary video, by the way. Just, yeah, when I saw this red stuff, that I could tell that was Gygus from Earthbound. Scary face. Wow. And there's Heck. Wow. Oh my snap, bro. What is this? I saw a Roblox guy in the thumbnail. I'm not even joking. Like, there he is right there. That's a person. Oh yeah, wait. We should have seen this chat. Alright. Tales Tube teaser.
Hey everyone! How are you all doing?
Not asking.
Oh, right. I can't see your responses yet. I wanted to let you all know that I'm starting my own show. I can't wait to tell you all more about me and my friends, answer some frequently asked questions, and maybe even bring some special guests on the show. I'm publishing the first one next week. See you then!
Next week? It's gotta come out tomorrow, chat. It has to be tomorrow. Like, literally, it just has to come out tomorrow. I don't think it is, but if it ever comes out tomorrow, I'm streaming it all day. Tales 2 may or may not happen. But, Super Idol becoming uncanon. I've seen the original video, Super Idol.
Super Idol, Dominique. Super Idol. Super Idol.
Be right back. I'm gonna do something. Chairs back. Using it. Who's that? Who was that? What was that, chat? I saw something. Gosh, that's terrifying. Whoa, that's a weird song, Bill. Wow, what else did just sad troll make? Mr. Bean, bro. What happened to Super Idol? Super Idol becoming canny. We found this egg.
Super Idol. Super Idol.
What is this? Yeah. Crocodile eggs. I found out he actually did that. Snake hands. I found out he actually made. Hold on, listen. What did he say? That's a funny meme. I mean, not meme, but yeah, this is what it is. Dinosaur Golden eggs. Trolge becomes candy. This is a thing now, dog. This is a thing now. Gosh. That's literally a thing now. Super Mario becoming candy. This is your bed. Wait, he showed. This is the one. Your gaming setup. All that bed is literally anime. We get to experience this again. This is hilarious. There's the yard bed. I bet I want my bed to be like that for real. I'm not better than that, man. Heaven. That's legit heaven. Baldi becoming canny. Lol. Bro. Oh, what is this? Seriously. Baldi. You're not bossing for that, aren't you, Baldi? Bro. That's in your mind somewhere. Yes. Oh goodness. That's creepy. Baldi.exe. That's and that's what Baldi becomes. Is there uncanny? Yep, there is. Wait, hold on, what is this? Lol, that's realistic. Alright, here comes the distorted left scrabble. I think he started becoming kind of angry here. I wasn't expecting that at all. Bro. Baldi is now a skeleton. Baldi's skeleton basics in educational learning. Oh, that iconic Roblox music is so creepy and everything. Squidward? Why is he here? Oh my goodness, he used Squidward again. And he used Squidward yet again. Yep, that's kind of Squidward. He uses it every freaking time, chat. Jet the Killer, I see him. He's not Baldy at all. What is that? I'm glad this is the thing now. Yeah, I'm legit glad now. Yesterday stream was like long. Wow. There's so many. I recognize that face. Then we get that's Slender Man. Ah. But all the notifications. Yeah, I enabled all the notifications. Oh, they upload another video.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, I knew this. I never expected them to do this. Cyclist 2? Oh, come on. I don't think they cared for Cyclist. That video froze. Seriously. I still remember this video. Oh my god. Wait, if you go to this guy's... Oh, if we... Hold it. I wonder if he'll do another verb.
Hello.
Hello. Who said hello? Nobody did. Wait, hold up. What are the clips? I don't know what that is. Mickey Mouse, The Haunted House, Sonic.exe jump scare. That has to be SCP. I'm not sure what that is.